Welcome back to the Mega Meeple, the show all about gamers and the games that bring them together. I'm your host, Tom, and I want to thank you for hitting that download button. If you like what you hear, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And while you're there, leave us some kind words and put out some of that 5-star lovin'. And I'll give you a shout out at the next episode. And tell all your friends in your gaming groups about the Mega Meeple. I'd really appreciate it. Get the word out. I'm only one man. I could only do so much. Be sure to connect with me via the Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, etc., 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 yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. You know the ones. And all the links to our social media pages are on the website, www.themegameeple.com. Check out our YouTube channel, where we do some unboxing videos and reviews of games and accessories, as well as some Kickstarter previews. And the link to that is also on our social media page on the website. All right, enough of the intro. Grab a seat at the gaming table, serve up some chips and dip, grab a Mountain Dew, and let's get on with the show. Our first in studio, in-house recording. And I'm here with our new co-host, Al. How you doing, Al?
How's it going there, Tom?
It's going. We just before recording, we attempted First Martian.
Yeah, Tom, Patrice, and I, Patrice being my wife, sat down and gave a shot at First Martian, and watched. I think you also watched Shut Up and Sit Down.
Yeah.
And I think that their just criticisms of the fiddliness of the game has some warrantedness to what they have to say.
Yeah. I was. You ever play a game and then it's like, okay, you know what? It just gets to the point where you just start staring at the board.
That's exactly right.
Thinking and hoping that all of a sudden a light bulb will light up. Oh, now it makes sense. And that moment never came.
Well, mine came and then it went.
It had a bit of a surge of electricity, and then we had a blackout again.
I won't say it's a bad game. I will say the learning curve to understand it at the very beginning as you're trying to get started is difficult. I think once you get past that learning curve, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I hope, and I don't know, maybe this will hopefully come through if Portal is listening, maybe create a sub-tutorial or maybe something that's a tutorial that is simpler than
more directed
the make yourself at home tutorial to teach you all the different things.
I also think that perhaps watching someone else having played the game, I haven't watched any of the Rados versions of it yet, but in a rare case here,
right.
It might be useful because if he's got the game process down, it will give you some insight on how to play it correctly.
True, and I think one of the things that a lot of people, especially with the new game, stuff like that is almost hard to find because nobody wants to record spoilers.
Yeah.
So for those of us that, it may be a thing where somebody just got, okay, look, in order to learn this game, you're going to have to
give up some knowledge.
Some things. So, and considering that there's 6 standalone missions and 2 campaigns, I think we could stand to be given some spoilers just if it's going to help learn and flush out all the different mechanics of the stuff you have to remember.
So like I said, I think it's worth looking into, but certain caveats are in play here.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we played Stop Thief, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I knew that game, so I knew it was like, okay, well, we're going to some gamage and at least bring that out. And since I knew about that and I liked that game, that was no problem learning.
Plus, it was a filler, and we only had a certain amount of time left to play. So,
right. And I'm sorry if I sound like Sean Connery. The thing.
You could do worse.
Another adventure in my dental medical stuff. So there's some things that I'm getting used to and adapting to and getting, So
you've sent one to the hospital. We'll send one to the morgue.
Yes.
That's my really bad Sean Connery. Sorry, guys.
It's like that the meme that has a picture of someone shaving the queen, and then on the next bottom part of the meme it says is Sean Connery there saying, "That's not what I said."
Shed.
But yeah, and also I ordered a second microphone and headphones. I only have one set right now, so hopefully this time next week we will have some better microphone and audio stuff. We each will have our own dedicated microphone.
So our technology will be covered. We can't account for our voices, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think about 2 weeks ago, Tom Vassel started on his board game breakfast, his Tom Thinks segment about your friendly local game stores. And at the time, it is the first video created quite a bit of backlash, and he had said that he was going to talk about it more this past week. So I thought, well, okay, let's wait to see what he says this next time. And I'm glad I did, because the second video segment he had, he actually started off the board breakfast with that segment and given more of a clarification and apology, I guess, to some things that were not made clear, or
yeah, the way I describe it is this: on the first episode, he seemed to be kind of on a tangent along the lines of talking about what he saw as being the sins of bad friendly or non-friendly local game stores. Mm-hmm. And he was kind of discussing some of the specifics of why people should not support a bad local game store. And I get that. I understand what he's talking about. You don't necessarily want to support a local store just because they are there. I get that. Mm-hmm. The problem is he really kind of made it sound as if most game stores are bad.
Yeah.
And it seemed evident to people that were listening to it, or at least the way he brought out his points, that he was kind of saying, hey, you should really go more with online stores and not worry so much about game stores, or don't feel support local game stores. And I think he opened up a more clarity on the second board game breakfast, where he discussed along the lines of, hey, there's actually a very good reason for local game stores, especially good ones, and here's why. And then he specified each of the different reasons that you should support them, and I think that was appreciated. Certainly, as being a participant in working with ownership of a store with my brother, we think or hope that we're amongst the groups that are good ones. Right. And he talked about taverns and cafes being strong types within that. And I think that Rob's store, as an example, is a good choice in regards to that. It acts as a tavern, so there's reasons for people to congregate and stuff.
Yeah. And just by way of a reminder, talk about at least in the local area here in Charlotte, the Carolina Tabletop Game store in Pineville that has the a beer. You have
Yep. So the location that we're discussing specifically right now has candy and light snacks, sodas, and beer. And that was kind of the idea that my brother had in regards to that shop. Some of the other shops in town also do similar stuff, although none of them do beer. But they also do, but they do have snacks. They do have places to sit down and play.
Yeah.
They have demos, and there's several in town. There's another great shop in Matthews, your local game store.
Yeah.
And there are several others, and we're not necessarily wanting to specify where you should go.
Right.
We're just sort of indicating the different places here in town.
Yeah, and we're in a good location because like within within an hour's drive, there's like a half a dozen different stores.
Yeah, and it's interesting. None of them are in the central location of town. They're all in the periphery.
Yes. But and one of the first things I noticed on the second video was that he was reading. He had a prepared statement, and the first thought that came into my mind was, oh, people are going to blow this off because they're going to say it's not sincere. Somebody else wrote that for him or something like that. But, if you listen to the whole second video, he even says he has a tendency that he does a script that he's talked things off the top of his head. And
that was part of his apology.
That's the reason. I think that's the reason why he had a written statement to sort of like rein himself in and prevent him from going off, off to the end.
Yeah, part of his apology was, I didn't necessarily want to be quite so negative as I seemed to be. Mm-hmm. And he says the part of the reason was I wasn't working from a script. He said I was kind of just shooting direct from the hip, and I've written down kind of points I wanted to cover during this one to make sure I'm less prepared.
Right. If it hasn't been apparent at this point, what is this, episode 22? I don't do a script. I just...
Script? What is this script thing you speak of?
The only... Actually, when you hear the podcast, the only thing that I ever scripted was the introduction and the ending. And that's about it. Everything in between is all just talking off, pulling things out of my butt.
Which he's going to have to scrap anyway and redo because we need to do one together.
But, that reminds me. We have a shout out this week. I like to do shout outs to people who help support us. So there's a person named Mur Rockstro, and he donated a few dollars to our Pod Pledge page.
Burr, you're a rock star.
Yeah. So now it's like, stuff like that is. I consider things like that to be like 5-star ratings. So even though people may not go to iTunes and go through the trouble of doing a rating or writing a review, the fact that they would give a few dollars to help support the podcast, I take that to mean one of two things. Either one, they enjoy what we're doing, they want to support it, or number two, they at least see potential.
Or three, they're bribing us to shut up.
There we go. So, although we've, at least for the people who have donated thus far, we've done shout-outs for, they have not told us which one of those options they want us to do.
So we're going to keep going.
So we're going to err on the side of being positive and think that people like what we do. So anyway, so thank you to Mur Rockstro. So if you want to be in the same camp as Mur and Chaz Margor, who also donated to our Pod Pledge, you can go to the Pod Pledge page and to help support the podcast. Or if you like our YouTube channel, you can go to the Patreon, stuff like that. And all the links to those things are on the website.
We'll call you a rock star as well.
Yeah. an event coming up not too long from here called Extra Life, I think it's called.
Yep.
So Al, why don't you tell us a little bit about that and possibly some stuff that's going on here locally if you're local here in Charlotte.
Yeah, Robert Burke Games and Carolina Tabletop Games are announcing the Extra Life event in support of the Children's Miracle Network. The game store will be hosting a 24-hour marathon gaming session from noon on Saturday, November 4th until noon on Sunday, November 5th. If you join with a donation of $15 or more, you'll gain entry to the 24-hour gaming event. Please note you do not have to game for 24 hours straight, but many of us will be. Each friend that you might want to bring along would also be $15 to enter the store. For your contributions to be useful, they will go forward to the Extra Life. I think it's in
Levine Children's Hospital.
That's Patrice, my wife, is kind of filling in the gaps here. Giving support to Levine Children's Hospital locally for kids. They'll also be raffling off valuable prizes during the marathon. The Waldhorn restaurant in Pineville will also be having events as part of this process, and any ticket purchased at the Waldhorn will also be accepted at the Carolina Tabletop location. Carolina Tabletops will also be donating 10% of any profits earned during this 24-hour period, so come thirsty and bring your gaming wish list. Our team is on a mission to save kids through gaming, and we have chosen Levine Children's Hospital, where children are treated regardless of their family's ability to pay. They're facing scary stuff like cancer and injuries from accidents, just to name a few. We'll be part of a huge international celebration of the social impact of gamers with Extra Life, and it's our sincere hope that you'll find it in your heart to support us coming into the store at the time.
The $15 pledge and then the $5 raffle tickets.
Yep.
And we did this last year right after we opened. And between us and the Queen City Gaming Club, we raised about $8,000 for the Levine Children's Hospital. It's a lot of fun.
And that's again taking place at the Carolina Tabletop Games in Pineville, North Carolina. So if you are not in Charlotte and you have a local game store, contact them and see if they're having some kind of event there that will coincide with Extra Life.
Most of them will be on that same weekend of November 4th and 5th.
Yeah, that's Extra Life weekend. They can go to the Extra Life website and register and pay their $15, or they can pay it at the store.
And again, we'll put links to all those things on the show notes of this episode. So, yeah, so if you like to game and you like to make a difference in children's lives, especially children who are facing a very hard time medically and health-wise, that is a really good thing to be a part of, and basically get back to the community and help somebody out, and at the same time do something that we all enjoy doing.
Yeah, and if you're not local, the Extra Life website, I believe, has a list of all the stores and gaming clubs that are participating.
Yeah, so what's the website that people could go to find out more directly from Extra Life?
It's www.extra-life.org.
All right, and again, we'll put links to that in the show notes of this episode.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for this episode. And again, we'll have some dedicated microphone for each one of us, so you're not hearing a bunch of extraneous noise and table tapping or whatever kind of stuff kind of bled through the thing while we were recording this. But yeah, but some neat things coming up in future episodes. We have in the can right now an interview I did with Jamie Stegmeyer, so be listening for that. Also, sometime next week, I will be interviewing Ivan Van Norman, who you've probably seen him many times in the Geek and Sundry YouTube channel. A lot of things to look forward to in the coming episodes. So, thank you again for all your support, all your listening, and Albert, anything you want to say in ending?
Nothing in particular, but thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate your support.
And appreciate you, Al, coming on to help out. And I think if you like this new dynamic, let us know in the you contact us through the web page, or better yet, go to iTunes and give us some 5-star loving. And if you like the whole host co-host thing, and then more people part of the podcast, go ahead and leave that feedback as well.
And leave us, if you don't like it, or if you want to give us other kind of feedback, we're here to listen. So
yes,
info is useful.
Yes. So thank you so much for listening, and until next time, this is Tom
and Al
saying game on.